A car accident gave my husband and me the chance to start over. On the day we went to meet my parents, he discarded the gift he was holding and suggested we end things. I agreed without hesitation. After all, in our previous life, our relationship concluded in divorce. This time, we chose not to relive the same conflicts and disagreements. He went abroad in search of his long held first love, while I stayed behind, diligently working at the local hospital. 7 years later, at a former classmate's wedding, he condescendingly compared me to a cleaning lady. But when he saw my twin daughters calling me mommy, he angrily demanded how I could let another man father my children. Heaven Lee threw down the fruit in his hand and declared, "Let's break up. I won't meet your parents." That statement snapped me back to reality. I noticed the joy and thrill in his eyes and simply nodded. Kevin Lee and I were both reborn on the day I took him to see my parents. In our past life, I worked as a cardiac surgeon, and he was a dentist. Despite our busy schedules, I handled most of the housework. After his workday, he would lounge on the sofa, saying he was too tired to move. I did all the cooking and cleaning while he complained of back pain from sitting in the office. After dinner, he'd hold me affectionately, saying I worked too hard, and I would smile and insist it wasn't difficult, because love made it worthwhile. I willingly made sacrifices, believing he appreciated them. Sometimes he brought me grapes, my favorite snack, on his way home. When I fell ill, he cared for me all night. Our colleagues praised us as the perfect couple, but everything shifted after his friend's child's first birthday party. I suggested having a baby, and he sarcastically asked if I knew how expensive it was. When I requested a back massage after a long day of cleaning, he snapped that I was being dramatic, claiming others didn't have such complaints. I asked him to pick up fruit, and he retorted that eating too much would make me fat and that I needed to lose weight. When I was sick and requested water, he impatiently said he wasn't my servant. I thought his behavior was due to work stress and tried to support him. Then I overheard his phone conversation with a friend. His friend had married a wealthy woman, which instantly elevated his lifestyle with a chauffeur, cook, and nanny. The cost of his friend's baby's first-month banquet equaled 50 years of our salaries. His friend told him that marrying a rich wife was the key to changing a man's destiny. They mentioned Kevin Lee's first love, Cynthia Dung, who had joined a renowned research team and opened her own private hospital after graduation. He lamented that if he hadn't met me, he could have reunited with her and lived a luxurious life. One night, after too much to drink, he confessed that marrying me was a mistake and that he would have been better off with his first love. He subtly suggested I accept red envelopes from patients for extra income. When I refused, he threw my pillow into the guest room. He found reasons to throw out my cooking and intentionally knocked over the trash can to make me relent. After a long surgery, he ridiculed me, saying I was rigid, lacked ambition, and would remain a lowly laborer forever. We didn't have a mortgage on the RV, had $500,000 in savings, and I was set to receive a research bonus. Our parents also had pensions, so we were financially stable. But his friend's wealth had bruised his ego, making him resentful. Unable to earn more, he vented his frustration on me. During one argument, he pushed me, causing me to hit my stomach on a table corner, which led to a miscarriage. Before I knew it, he had abandoned me. Drained physically and emotionally, I agreed to a divorce. However, on the way to finalize it, a series of car accidents ended our lives. Life granted us a second chance, but we silently chose to part ways. Soon after, I heard that Kevin Lee had left the country while I stayed, continuing my hospital work and research. 7 years later, after a grueling 12-hour surgery, I collapsed into a chair and drank deeply from a water bottle. My university classmate Lily Jang called to urge me to attend a wedding. Without time to change, I rode my bike there since it was quicker than driving. Just as I approached the venue, someone stopped me. I turned to see Kevin Lee dressed in a perfectly tailored black suit and polished leather shoes. "It really is you," he sneered, brushing off his sleeve to reveal an expensive watch. His smug, disdainful expression told me all I needed to know. "Nina Jenkins, it's your best friend's wedding, and here you are, fresh from hauling bricks." Dressed in wrinkled clothes, I was met with the comment that I resembled a cleaning lady. Before I could respond, a sharp voice cut in, "Isn't this Na Jenkins?" Cynthia Dung, in a figure-hugging red dress, her long, wavy hair dyed blonde and her fingernails painted crimson, was arm in arm with Kevin Lee. Her smile was a mix of triumph and scorn. She had been acknowledged by our teacher as a cardiac surgery prodigy, yet here I was, doing so poorly. I've opened a private hospital and could offer you a receptionist position, out of old times' sake. What do you think? Their expensive attire suggested that Kevin Lee had achieved his goal of reuniting with his wealthy first love. I declined politely. Thanks, but no thanks. Some classmates who had arrived with them joined in. One arched an eyebrow and said, "Don't dismiss the offer so quickly, Na Jenkins. Do you even realize that Cynthia Dung joined a prestigious research team overseas and now runs her own hospital? Hardly anyone gets close to her." Other classmates nodded in agreement. Exactly. Cynthia Dung has cured cancer patients and earned a big name in the medical world. Many people would love to meet her but don't have the chance. You should feel lucky to be connected to her. Another chimed in. A hospital receptionist job is low stress and easy. You should really thank her. Even if the pay isn't high, at least you wouldn't dress like a cleaning lady anymore. To be honest, Cynthia Dung is incredible, someone added. We're all part of society, but she's already opened a hospital. They laughed, and though I listened, I felt indifferent. Reunions after graduation, they say, reveal people's true nature. I understood now. Life is tough, and everyone seeks to align themselves with influential people. Noticing my silence, one classmate frowned and said, "Come on, Na Jenkins, Cynthia Dung is offering you an opportunity, and you're not even grateful." Exactly, another agreed. Don't act superior just because you had good grades in school. The real world is different now. I was stunned. Declining her offer and standing quietly was seen as arrogance. I already have a job and don't need her help, I replied. Hearing this, Cynthia Dung scoffed, while Kevin Lee frowned. Nah, Jenkins, I told you before that society isn't like school. You're just an average doctor now. Cynthia's offering to help you, and going abroad with her is better than staying here. We had a past, but now I'm with Cynthia. Don't let that stop you from accepting her help. Cynthia smiled, kissed Kevin on the cheek, and added smugly, That's right, Kevin and I were each other's first love. Even though you were with him for a while, I didn't mind. He told me you were only good at studying and asked me to help you. Thanks, but I'm doing fine at my job, I replied. I couldn't understand how they created such a narrative for me. Kevin Lee was part of my past. Thankfully, my roommate, Tina Lee, arrived, rushing over to grab my arm. I'm not late, am I? The traffic was terrible. Smiling, I held her arm and said to the others, Hurry inside, the wedding's about to begin. As we walked away, I heard my classmates whispering, Kevin Lee made the right choice. Na Jenkins was only good at academics, but Cynthia Dung is his successful first love. True, another agreed. Na Jenkins may have been the top student, but she's just a doctor now. Meanwhile, Cynthia owns a hospital. Imagine two ex-girlfriends at the same table, and the first love is doing better. I bet Na Jenkins isn't feeling great about it, someone remarked. She's probably faking confidence, another added. Hearing this, Cynthia lifted her chin, clinked her wineglass, and told me, Don't mind what they say. I've always treated everyone the same. You may have outperformed me in school, but times have changed. Don't belittle yourself. Kevin Lee gave me a condescending look. I always said you're too rigid. Society isn't like school. You'll just keep working while others advance. One day you'll regret not accepting our help. The wedding march began playing, and I silently watched the bride and groom exchange rings on the stage. As dishes started arriving, my classmates loosened up with drinks, discussing careers and salaries. When they learned that Cynthia planned to open a second hospital, they raised their glasses to her success. I knew from the start that Cynthia Dung wasn't ordinary and would thrive. Now it was clear. She wasn't just book smart, she had real skills. Look at the cancer patients she's helped, someone praised. She's as talented as she was back in school. Yeah, she studied abroad for years, and her expertise is top-notch, another added. Cynthia swirled the wine in her glass, revealing a jade bracelet on her wrist. She accepted the compliments gracefully. I also want to thank my fiancé, Kevin, who supported me all these years and took care of everything so I could focus on my studies. Kevin wrapped his arm around her shoulder and looked at her lovingly. And I want to thank you for helping me with my thesis, getting my articles published, giving me the role of deputy hospital director, and bringing me the respect and admiration I enjoy today. Kevin Lee's decision to pursue Cynthia Dung early on was indeed sharp. Hey, remember when we graduated? Cynthia Dung was dating Na Jenkins, someone commented, nudging the person next to them. They broke up, came the whispered reply. Kevin Lee went abroad and then chased after Cynthia Dung. Oh, I get it. First love always wins. If Kevin had stayed with Na Jenkins, they'd probably still be regular employees with no future. Exactly, someone else agreed. Cynthia was his first love and Na Jenkins was second. The difference between them now is like night and day. As everyone gushed about Cynthia and Kevin, it was clear my presence was merely a bridge connecting them. My roommate, Tina Lee, approached me and sighed. Wow, I had no idea Cynthia Ding turned out to be so impressive. She was such a bookworm back then, but now she cures cancer. And Kevin, he got back with his old flame and is flaunting her money like he's accomplished something himself. He's actually proud of it. I smiled, thinking about my husband, and my heart warmed. The mood shifted when the bride began throwing the bouquet. Everyone joked, and Kevin Lee was pushed to the stage declaring he would propose. No one else competed for the flowers, so Kevin picked up the bouquet and walked toward Cynthia. Dropping to one knee, he proposed. Tears welled up in Cynthia's eyes as she nodded repeatedly, saying, "Yes." The crowd clapped and cheered. I hung my jacket on my chair and told Tina I was heading to the restroom. When I came out, I noticed Kevin Lee leaning against the wall. I nodded, intending to pass by, but he stopped me. "Nah, Jenkins, I saw you on the road earlier, struggling on a shared bike. You looked pitiful. I didn't expect you to end up like this. I used to encourage you to work hard, learn from Cynthia, and join our research team abroad. If you had, you'd be successful by now. You were always ahead in school, but you were too stubborn. Look at our classmates today. Everyone dresses better than you." Calmly, I explained, "I just finished a long surgery overnight and didn't have time to change." He cut me off impatiently. "Stop being so proud. Can't you admit you're struggling? I'm glad I left you. Cynthia is smarter and makes way more money than you. All you do is study." I sneered. All he valued was money. Would he still be with Cynthia if she weren't so successful? Feeling bored, I turned to leave. Just then, Cynthia appeared, hooked her arm around his, tilted her chin, and said, "Are you reconnecting with an old flame?" Kevin quickly wrapped his arm around her waist. "What old flame? The only one I care about now is you." Cynthia caressed his cheek. "I know, everyone picks the best." She looked at me, shook her head, and continued. "When Kevin left me for you, I hated it. Even though I was the top student, I was always second to you. The teachers loved you, but now I see you're not that special. You have to face the reality of being average. Seeing you fail makes me happy." She laughed, patted my shoulder mockingly, and walked away. As Kevin passed me, he whispered, "You'll always be better than me at studying. When he left me for you, I swore I'd crush you one day." Back then, when Kevin dumped Cynthia for me, she had sworn to rise above me. It seemed they truly were a match made in heaven. Like her, I used to compare myself to others. Now, I only measure myself against who I used to be. Returning to the banquet hall, I saw guests starting to leave. I grabbed my jacket, intending to say goodbye to Lily Jang. Cynthia frowned and blocked my way. Confused, I asked her what she wanted. She claimed her ring was missing and said no one could leave until it was found. Kevin looked at me anxiously. "I just got engaged, and now the ring is gone. That ring cost over 2 million won." The other classmates gasped. "A ring worth more than 2 million? You need to find it." "Yes, I couldn't even afford a ring that expensive for my house," someone added. "Kevin and Cynthia are really wealthy now." "Did you leave it by the bathroom sink?" another speculated. "Or did it slip off in the crowd?" Tired and eager to rest, I checked the time on my phone. "Your ring is valuable. You should call the police. They'll find it faster." Cynthia rejected the idea immediately. "We're old classmates. Involving the police would look bad." She then eyed me and said, "I think we should search you. It's not personal, but I don't want to make this awkward." Walking up to me, she asked, "Do you mind if I check your pockets? If you're innocent, you've got nothing to hide." I handed over my clothes without hesitation, and she searched my pockets furiously. She pulled out a ring, a smug smirk forming on her lips. My brow furrowed. "I didn't take anything from you." Kevin Lee snatched my jacket and threw it to the floor. "Even a thief won't admit to stealing, Nina Jenkins. We've broken up. I bought this ring to propose to Cynthia. Why would you steal it now? I told you it wasn't me, I replied. If you want to accuse me, call the police and let them determine the truth. The commotion drew the attention of the banquet hall staff, and soon someone arrived to investigate. Mom! Mom! Two children rushed over. I picked one up, surprised to see them. My husband, Michael Lucas, walked over, took our son in his arms, and told him, "Your mom will get tired if she carries both of you." He then wrapped his arm around my shoulders and said, "Honey, I heard from the manager that someone lost something here. What's going on?" The hotel manager introduced him. "This is our CEO, Michael Lucas. Please explain to Mr. Lucas how the ring was lost. He'll make sure everything is handled properly." Michael Lucas, the head of Lucas Corporation, the top hotel chain in the country? Someone whispered. Wait, the banquet hall is owned by Lucas Corporation? Why did that child call her mom and refer to her as Nina Jenkins? Could they really be married? Ignoring their questions, I explained everything that had just happened. Michael immediately instructed the staff to contact the police and check the security footage. Cynthia Dung's face paled. "There's no need for the police. We found the ring. Let's not make a big deal out of this. We're all classmates." Michael's tone was firm. "Miss Dung, this ring is worth over 2 million yuan. Since it was lost here, we must investigate. Our hotel's reputation is at stake. Surely you understand?" Cynthia had no choice but to remain silent, though her anxiety was evident. Kevin Lee's expression grew complicated. "What's your relationship with her?" he asked Michael. I looked at my classmates, who were eavesdropping, and gently said, "This is my husband, Michael Lucas." Lily Jang approached with her husband and smiled. "Thanks to Na, we got this incredible wedding venue. We're so happy with it. We'll treat you to dinner soon." Michael nodded politely. "You're Nina's friend, so it's our pleasure." My classmates stared at me, stunned. I can't believe Na Jenkins got married to such a powerful man. Kevin Lee kept looking down on her, but she found someone far better. Someone murmured. "If her husband's so rich, why would she need Cynthia's ring? Something doesn't add up." "Didn't you call the police? They'll figure it out soon," another said. "Nah, you should have told us you got married. We'd have given you a big red envelope," someone joked. I listened to their sudden friendliness, responding politely. As the night progressed, Cynthia tried to slip away, but the security guard stopped her. The police arrived and the surveillance video revealed everything. As Cynthia passed my chair, she had leaned over and the ring had slipped into my pocket. Because of the ring's high value, the police took Cynthia away for framing me. As I exited the hotel, Kevin Lee ran after me. I told Michael to take the children to the car because the sun was too harsh. Michael kissed my forehead protectively, glanced at Kevin, then walked away. Kevin's gaze was a mix of confusion and disbelief. "How did you end up marrying Michael Lucas?" "There's no mystery," I replied. "His father was my patient, hospitalized for heart disease. During that time, Michael admired my professionalism, and I respected his dedication and integrity. We naturally fell in love and married. It was a simple wedding, and only close friends like Lily and Tina attended. That's why no one else knew." Kevin's eyes reddened. "Are those your children? But you once said you wanted kids with me. How could you have children with someone else?" His words left me speechless. "Promises only matter when people stay together. We broke up, Kevin. My husband and kids are waiting for me. I'm leaving." He called out, "Na Jenkins, do you still love me?" I shook my head. "I stopped loving you a long time ago. My heart belongs to my husband and children now." I didn't understand why he was asking. There was no point dwelling on the past. My focus was my family and career. I had intended to let things slide with Cynthia, but framing me for stealing a 2 million yuan ring was too much. She deserved the consequences. Yet, I hadn't expected to hear later that she was caught for academic fraud, falsifying treatment results with unethical experiments. She had also been one of the top students at our university. After graduation, she secured a position at an excellent hospital. Cynthia Dung managed to join a renowned international research team. She authored papers, published in journals, received honors, and quickly outpaced her peers. Her fame grew, particularly because of her success in treating several cancer patients. With the backing of the research team, she even established her own hospital. However, it was soon discovered that the research team she joined had been conducting unethical human experiments. They altered healthy individuals to create cancer patients, monitoring the disease's progression and administering treatments in stages. The few patients Cynthia Dung claimed to have cured were not actually healed. Now, their bodies were suffering from severe after effects. Negative news about her hospital selling fake medications caused it to close down, and the entire research team was arrested. I doubted Cynthia Dung would ever see freedom again. When I heard the news, I was furious. "This is disgraceful," I said. "Academic research, especially in medicine, is a challenging and painstaking process. Each successful case represents progress for the medical community. Staying true to ethical principles during research is crucial. Harming people to achieve results is simply unforgivable." That day, I received a call from an unknown number. Kevin Lee's panicked voice came through. "Nah, what do I do? Cynthia Dung gave me some medicine. Do you think it was dangerous? What if something's wrong with me? The hospital is closed, and I just got out of the police station after questioning." I really didn't know Cynthia was involved in such things. I thought she was genuinely talented. Though I disliked hearing from him, I seriously advised, go to a hospital for a full examination immediately and see what they say. A few days later, Kevin burst into my office, his face filled with despair. "Nah, my medical report says I have terminal lung cancer. The vitamins Cynthia gave me were fake. What am I going to do now?" I stood up in shock, quickly scanning his report. "You need to be admitted to the hospital and follow the doctor's instructions." Since it wasn't busy, I helped him with the admission process. Once he was settled, I handed him a glass of water. He sat on the bed, lost in thought. He looked at me with hesitation. "I knew you wouldn't leave me. You still care about me, don't you? I was a fool to get involved with someone like Cynthia Dung. Looking back, you were always the best for me, Na. I realize now that breaking up with you was a huge mistake. I shouldn't have called you a loser. Can you forgive me and take me back?" I frowned and replied firmly, "Kevin Lee, we've been over for a long time. I have a new family, and I don't have feelings for you anymore. Please stop saying such things." He shook his head. "No, you still love me. Why else would you be taking care of me?" I stepped back coldly. "I'm just angry at what Cynthia did. I helped you get admitted because we were classmates. If my actions misled you, I apologize. You should ask your parents to take care of you." With that, I turned and walked away. Kevin shouted after me, "Do you think Michael Lucas really loves you? A CEO with someone like you? You'll never be happy. I'm the only one who's right for you." I quickened my pace. Some people belittle others when they're successful, but envy them when they're not. They're never content. Many think I married above my station, but I never saw myself as inferior. Kevin often said all I did was study and research. He didn't know that 2 of my breakthroughs in heart disease treatment had been published in top international journals. I've always focused on saving lives, never measuring my worth by wealth. Michael often tells me that my work is invaluable because life itself is priceless. He admires my dedication and passion for medicine, and I respect his values and kindness. Kevin's attempts to provoke me had no effect. Kevin started showing up frequently. One day, he barged into my office with a bunch of grapes. "Nina, you used to say grapes were your favorite. I picked these for you. You still like them, right?" I firmly told him to leave since I had patients to see. He tried to take my hand. "Nina, I regret everything. I shouldn't have left you. Please, let's start over." I'd had enough and called security to escort him out. After work, I visited his hospital room and made things clear. "Stop harassing me." But he pleaded for another chance. Outside the ward, his parents apologized. "He's sick and under pressure. We're really sorry. Is there no chance for you two?" I replied seriously, "I'm married with a husband and children. Even if I weren't, there's no future with Kevin. We broke up long ago. Please talk to him." His parents were stressed, but I couldn't let his actions disrupt my life. Fortunately, there was an opportunity for an exchange program in a nearby city. I volunteered to apply for the exchange program, and the hospital approved it quickly. When I arrived, I was surprised to find Michael Lucas there with our baby. Wrapping his arms around me from behind, he whispered softly, "My wife is here for work, so I'm here with the baby. Are you happy?" I nodded and replied, "Very happy." Whenever I had downtime, my husband and I would take the kids to the nearby amusement park or food court. Yet, for some reason, I often felt like someone was watching me. One evening, after putting the babies to sleep, my phone rang. "Nina, I'm downstairs at your hotel. Can you come out and meet me?" I went to the window and saw Kevin Lee standing there, holding a bag and looking up. He continued on the phone. If you don't come down, I'll just stay here. Michael Lucas, frowning, picked up the phone to call security, but I stopped him. This won't end if we keep avoiding it. I'll go see what he wants. I hadn't expected Kevin to follow me to the next city. When I got downstairs, I frowned and asked him directly, "What do you want?" Kevin opened the bags one by one. "Nah, I made your favorite dishes. This is spicy chicken, this is mapo tofu, this is duck blood soup, and this is poached pork slices. You used to handle the cooking and chores, but from now on, I'll take care of it. I'll cook for you." His eyes gleamed as he said, "I know you love spicy food, but you always made bland meals to suit my taste. Now, let me accommodate you. I can handle spicy food too." He took a piece of spicy chicken with his chopsticks and shoved it into his mouth, only to cough from the heat. I moved the food aside and asked coldly, "Why are you doing this?" In my past life, I wanted a peaceful future with him. Because he disliked spicy food, I never used chili peppers in our meals. I taught myself to cook the mild dishes he preferred. After one argument, I made a table full of his favorite dishes, hoping we could reconnect and move forward together. But he shoved me down and I lost our baby. Afterward, he filed for divorce. Now, those memories no longer stir any emotions in me. Kevin blushed, ashamed. "I want you to know I haven't forgotten you. I realize now that even if you're just a doctor, you're a good one with integrity. During my time in the hospital, I heard nurses talk about your incredible achievements in heart disease treatment. You've made breakthroughs that help so many patients. I was petty before. You're amazing on your own. I got lost in my ambition and vanity. I was wrong. Can we get back together?" I laughed bitterly. "Kevin Lee, you never loved me. You loved the idea of wealth. You want me back now because you think my research success makes me valuable. You always crave a flashy partner to boost your image. Don't fake affection. It only makes me despise you more. I don't love you anymore. Whether you're genuinely sorry or just pretending, I want nothing to do with you. Leave me alone. Let's part ways peacefully." When I turned to go, he lunged forward to embrace me. Michael Lucas, who had been watching, stepped in and pushed him away. The hotel security rushed over and restrained Kevin. Michael coldly ordered them to call the police. As Kevin was escorted into the police car, he shouted, "Nah, I regret it. Please forgive me, please." Later, Kevin's parents picked him up. A psychiatrist diagnosed him with mild anxiety disorder. They transferred him to another hospital and stayed with him. 2 months later, I received a phone call from his parents. Their voices trembled with tears as they begged me to visit Kevin. I didn't want to go, but I couldn't refuse two desperate elderly people. When I arrived, Kevin looked gaunt, his cheekbones prominent. He gazed blankly out the window, but his eyes brightened slightly when he saw me. He glanced at himself and laughed bitterly. "I must look terrible, huh?" I didn't reply. He continued, "You've lived another life, haven't you? Back then, I asked for a breakup, and you calmly agreed. At the time, I was relieved. But now I wonder, if I had stopped you, could we have had a different ending?" I cut him off. "No, life doesn't offer endless chances. A person's character and desires shape their path. If you chase shortcuts and illusions, no number of do-overs will lead to success." His expression was pained. "I get it now. I realize my mistakes. If you could start over, would you be with me?" I firmly answered. "No." I added, "I came because your parents begged me. I won't visit again. Don't look for me anymore." I never saw him after that. Eventually, I heard he had left. To me, he became just another former classmate. I cherished my current life even more, knowing the importance of staying true to my principles and facing life one steady step at a time.